Welcome in to a late night edition of CHGO Bears After Dark. We are really going after dark here. We are half asleep, especially me and Woot, I think. Right. Braggs is running on his brick juice. Nick is running on the adrenaline of getting a question into Hard Knocks. We are ready to go. We are here. That was a weird delay, which we were going to talk about, but Adam Hoge, Greg Braggs Jr., Nicholas Moreano, and Corey Wootton with you late night here on CHGO After Dark, a Hard Knocks post-game edition, post-show edition, episode 2 dropping. And before we get into our instant reactions, boys, what the hell was that? Like, we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. And the ultimate me guy move from Braggs, who apparently has cable and can just watch it live, like, you know, it's 2017 or something.
1999.
He just goes on and watches the whole episode without us, man. Just leaves us in the dust.
Yeah, there hasn't been a bigger heel turn since Hulk Hogan with NWO. That's right. All you people that made fun of me for keeping my satellite dish up on my roof. DirecTV shout out, still rocking it here at the house. So I was good. As soon as the show went live at 8 p.m. Central, I was watching it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to like wait to watch this tomorrow morning that have no idea really what we're talking about. But for people that wanted to watch it right away, if you only stream it on the app, then you had to wait an hour and 15 minutes after it debuted on HBO. And it set up for one of the funniest nights on Bears Twitter. And I know most people probably don't live on Bears Twitter the way I do, but some of the comedy that ensued from people absolutely freaking out to watch this episode, and I get it. I would be doing the same thing. We're all bloodthirsty to see Bears content this season, and these Hard Knocks episodes, now we're into 2, are great. We're going to talk about it tonight, but it led, as great as tonight's episode was, the humor from the fans freaking out for not being able to watch it right away was, to me, the moment of the night. It was as funny of content as I've seen from a lot of our fans.
I mean, Adam, you put it in the chat like Bragg is pretty quiet, and I'm like, yeah, he is kind of quiet. This man was watching Hard Knocks or all freaking out on Twitter. That's why he was quiet.
Yeah, let me take you behind the scenes here a little bit, Woot. So, you know, all of Twitter is having a meltdown that this episode's not on, and yet the king of Twitter meltdowns, Greg Braggs Jr., is silent on Twitter, silent in text messages, silent in our Slack channel that we have for work. I'm like, this dude's watching this. And I know he's watching it because he's not melting down at all.
And I had no idea this was going on because I had my phone down for once in my life. I'm locked into the episode. I'm taking notes as the show's going on, so we have a good post-game show. And then all of a sudden I look at Slack and see what's going on, and then to see the hilarity that ensued on Bears Twitter. It was epic, honestly.
We're in the group text. I'm like, hey guys, I'm waiting on the thing. It's not popping up. I was like, yeah, same thing over here, man. And Braggs is over there enjoying it, have a smile on his face, looking at Twitter like
popcorn gif, just Braggs just
so Braggs didn't know this, but I actually was in the room in the background and I saw him, and I actually have a live look in if you guys want to know what it looks like when Braggs is watching Hard Knocks. This is it right here.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Look at that human being.
Yes. You got my Taco Bell. Yes.
That's a specimen. That's a specimen, right?
I mean,
yes.
specimen.
I had some of the people that were tweeting at me was one of the funniest. It was just epic. I had one person say, Greg, I'll make sure every Taco Bell you eat has no sauce and is drier than the Sahara Desert.
No hot sauce on there, baby.
I mean, that photo right there showed the before and after effects of Taco Bell.
It's a beautiful thing.
That was fantastic. All right, guys. Well, you know, I do have to say, in all seriousness, that was quite a story that we're going to hear about tomorrow in the media news world of things, because Hard Knocks, Peter Schrager put out on Twitter earlier tonight before this episode aired. Biggest debut they've had in 5 years from a ratings perspective, last week's episode. And to follow that up with an all-time dud of getting this thing out to the people right when it was scheduled to air is a story in and of itself. And, look, we have, I promise you, HBO, NFL Films, whoever was actually at fault here, who knows? We have sympathy. I mean, we've had our own technical difficulties and some late things go up because there is, this thing where you got to upload and you got to render video, and it is way more complicated than people understand. That being said, we're in year 3 of a startup. This is HBO.
Been around for a long time.
I don't know what happened. My guess is actually it was not a human error, not a specific person that's screwing anything up, and just probably technology, which backfires sometimes. But man, there's a story to be told there behind the scenes about what happened tonight, because you had a lot of Bears fans, and this is a fan base that you don't want to mess with.
Oh no, they were excited for this. Can you imagine though? Just think about it. If it was a human error, there was somebody just supposed to click upload at like 8 o'clock, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh shoot, I was cooking something. I was grilling. I forgot to hit." I want to say it's probably a situation like that. Somebody just forgot to click the upload button on the whole network, especially for streaming, because it came live on the actual people that had TV, like old man Braggs over there. But us current generation people that actually stream stuff, don't have a satellite tube on the top of our roof anymore. And you might need a new roof, man, because there's been some hailstorms by you. All right.
Yeah. We have had some tornadoes blow through here, but you know what? Holding strong at the Braggs residence. Yep. I mean, people laughed at me, and I've been warning people that one day you will regret. You will rue the day that everyone is moving to streaming, and here it was. Big Cat said, for those of us that kept our dish, this was our Super Bowl, and it 100% was, because we've been fighting the streaming, the powers of streaming. I know one day you guys will all come back to the fold. I'm not getting rid of it ever. I don't trust streaming, and tonight is a perfect example of why.
Yeah,
you want a cookie, bro? You want a cookie?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, we're CHGO. We live entirely on streaming, so please ignore everything Greg just said.
You know what's funny is Lindsay Spano is always telling me to stop saying that.
Stop saying that, please.
Shut
up.
Damn it, Greg.
You Taco Bell loving idiot. Shut up. All right. Let's jump into this thing because we do want to talk about the episode, and it was pretty good. I have to say it was entertaining. We'll get to our instant reactions here. By the way, show number 3 for CHGO Bears today as a team. We debuted the 85 with Cole Kmet this morning. Go check it out. That's a separate YouTube channel, the 85 with Cole Kmet. Please go subscribe, hit the like button. That thing's blowing up today. Appreciate all the great feedback that we've received on that. And then, of course, our practice recap episode debuted at 2 o'clock. You can check everything that happened at House today. And we're right back at it tonight. Show number 3, responding to what's going on with Hard Knocks. So, Braggs, the floor is yours first, and then we'll go to Woot and Nick and back around the horn here. But what's your biggest instant reaction from episode 2 tonight?
Well, obviously, the fever that is Bears Nation, dying for every piece of this content. Over 1,000 people watching live here at 11 o'clock, 10:30 at night, 11:30 on the East Coast. Shout out to all you guys. Hit that like button. It's nice to not argue about quarterbacks for 5 minutes like we did all during the offseason and be all, as one, yelling at HBO Max, poor HBO Max. But my biggest takeaway from the show tonight is all the little football intricacies, Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams, and that connection that's building, and that chemistry and the communication at practice, and the communication during the Bills game after they, came off the field after their second series, to hear them kind of working through some things. You can just see just how special that combination's eventually going to become. And then the heavyweight bout that we all had been looking forward to all summer long, Keenan Allen versus Jalen Johnson. We weren't really sure which wide receiver and DBs and how they were going to line up. Some really talented defensive backs, and some of the guys have been out with Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson and Jaquan Brisker being injured at times. But you got Keenan Allen versus Jalen Johnson. That was the heavyweight bout for tonight. Tyson versus Holyfield type of stuff. And that, for me, when I go to training camp, that's the stuff that I can't wait to see. 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s are a lot of fun, but watching those one-on-one battles against two of the best that are in the league that can do it at their position, that's what it's all about. And you guys got to see it in full display on HBO, and they did a great job of really showing that to the world. And then, Chris Morton and, Ian Wheeler, and him getting all over him. I love that. And trying to pull the most out of, your fourth running back and seeing how he motivates him. And you hear all these stories about how he's the loudest assistant coach on the sidelines.
And Chad Morton too.
I'm sorry, Chad Morton. Yeah. Thank you, Chad Morton. It's late. Yeah. Chad Morton. But those three things for me, watching those different relationships grow, really enjoyed all that. That's the hardcore football stuff that I've been looking forward to.
Yeah, and I would say for me, it had to be Austin Booker, right? Big defensive line guy, trying to see who's going to be that next guy opposite Montez Sweat. And we know he has all the talent. He has the raw tools, the hand usage. We know he can do as a pass rusher. But for him stepping up and having a really big game, and seeing Eric Washington, my former coach in college, and the pros over there, giving him his props and just seeing him continue to work and continue the effort. And I think when you're a young guy and you have a big game like that, it just does really boost that confidence. And I think that's what we want to see from a guy like Austin Booker, right? To build off that the next game, have that same type of pressure or production, and then continue. And maybe he could be that situational pass rush guy, maybe like a Mark Anderson, right? In his first year that had over 13 sacks, I think 12 and a half, something like that. I think that would be huge for this team, and especially opposite Montez Sweat. That's what we're looking for. Who's going to be that next guy? So it was really cool to see Austin Booker come into his own. And then what I love the most is it seems like the team, they're really building that camaraderie. And I think when you do that, I feel like the sky is the limit, because all the talent is there. It's starting to stack up in the right way, right? There's a couple pieces here or there that we'd like to be developed a little bit more. But what I'm seeing is them really enjoying each other's presence, having fun together. And I think that's the mark of a good team. And that's what we're starting to see in Chicago. They're changing that culture, because I feel like it was great when I was there. With Khalil Mack, we're in there in their first couple of years. I thought the chemistry was great. Then it kind of went away. Now I think we're getting back to that, which is awesome.
No doubt about it, Wood. Actually, the comment that Furious D36 made about I like Rome giving those kids advice. We saw a lot more Rome Odunze in this episode when he gave advice to the kids on how to, go about being a football player, the freshman there. And then also, look, he's out there performing Kiss Kiss by Chris Brown, and he's getting his teammates involved. Like, that was great to see. But then you also see the football side of it, where he's asking Caleb, what do we need to do on this adjustment on that back, the throw that was in the back right corner of the end zone. So you're just seeing all these different sides of Rome Odunze and why ultimately the Bears decided to draft him along with Caleb Williams in that first round. But it was nice to see that, he is a top 10 pick. He should be highlighted. And this episode, I think, showed a lot of different sides of Rome Odunze. And also one other thing, Cole Kmet, he's also watching Love Island. My fiance and I, we're watching Love Island too. It's like a car wreck. It really is. You watch it and you're waiting to see what's going to happen next, because it's that kind of crazy stuff. But those are my top two takeaways.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to ask Cole about that next week, but
yes.
I have absolutely
put him on the spot, man. Come on, big,
zero
come on,
interest.
Big Cole. What's up with that, man?
I'm going to there's no chance I'm doing some advanced scouting on whatever that show is before I ask that question.
Because Braggs would do that. I'm not a bricklayer anymore, so you don't have to watch whatever I want.
We get in on Vanderpump here at the Braggs residence. Thank you.
Yes. And by the way, we are powered by ComEd here on CHGO After Dark, as always. And we got more on ComEd here in a second, but I'll just bring up my instant reaction. My favorite scene was a short scene, but it was very quick. The only glimpse we saw inside Ryan Poles' office this entire episode, with him and Ian Cunningham watching tape post-practice, and Ryan just says something like, hey, he looks a little dialed in, a little bit more dialed in this week. And him and Ian kind of go back and forth. Yeah, well, he's playing this week. And that's similar to what we heard from some of the players that are just like, he had a different look in his eye on the field in Buffalo. And those kind of lights turn on in the games, and it's a little bit different. You love to hear those types of things with the quarterback and Caleb Williams. So that was my favorite moment among many. I got a lot of notes here, a lot of different things, some fun, some serious, some cool things in this episode as well. But Greg, we got to tell our viewers and listeners here a little bit about ComEd and how it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. And that's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do?
They should go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
That's right, I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
We got to give a quick shout out to Nicholas Moreano, whose excellent question to Jalen Johnson on not making the NFL top 100 got in there in the epised, and then they showed Mark Grody for some reason.
I thought that was a little interesting. Like, okay. To be completely honest, when they didn't even put like where Jalen Johnson says like bullshit, disrespect, like I thought that was going to make it in Hard Knocks when I asked that part of the question.
Okay. So quick follow-up on that. Is this 2 episodes? I don't remember any profanity in this episode either.
No. And it's been pointed out on Twitter as well. Brendan Segru said that they've kind of been like, in some of these sentences, you can tell they're bleeping out the curse words, at least to some people's eye. So the question is being raised that maybe it's been put in by request that no profanity, because other Hard Knocks had plenty of profanity and we haven't seen any 2 episodes in.
Interesting.
That just smells like McCaskey for some reason. I don't know why. It's just and by the way,
Kevin Warren too,
and maybe Kevin Warren, and maybe a little, back in the day, your coach Lovie Smith, Corey would probably appreciate it too. I don't hate it. My only criticism of the Michael Jordan documentary. What was it called? The
Last Dance.
The Last Dance, I was blanking on it. It's been a really long, basically 48 hours now. My brain that's not the only time this is going to happen in this hour, guys. Last Dance. So when they originally aired Last Dance, they were showing it on ESPN2, an edited version that took out the profanity. And my son at that time was only 6.
Right.
So we watched that version because he wanted to watch it with me. And now it's on Netflix and you can watch it, but all the cursing's back in it. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of it. I still pretty much let him watch it, but it's like, I got that little uneasy feeling with all the language that's in it. And I do have to say, as a dad, I have appreciated, I have nothing against cursing. We do it on this show sometimes, but it is nice when you're sitting down there with your kids and you don't have to worry about it.
Sure.
Yeah, no, definitely is but at the same time, right, though, it is HBO. Right, yeah. We're talking about a network that's had Oz, The Wire, Sopranos, all these shows, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's also the NFL. I mean, we know what's going on that practice field.
Oh, how many times have we heard a game on actual TV and you get a sound clip of when something's going on in the trenches or whatever? You hear some things
You're like,
you don't even want to repeat out there. So it's a different beast, right? Things are said. I've said some things that not very proud of or whatever, but that's what happens, between those lines. So
yeah. Ari Gold almost once bought a NFL team on HBO, and then his mouth got him in trouble during Entourage, and then he couldn't buy an NFL team on one of my favorite shows of all time. So, Nick, you were talking about, Rome Odunze talking to those kids about preparation and doing something a 1,000 times before you do it in a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that preparation, I mean, that's what they call the Mamba mentality. That's the Kobe Bryant way, right? And I really enjoyed that part of it because, something, I always talk about, when I cover Purdue basketball, Matt Painter talks about guys wanting to take something from their game that they worked on in the summer and start using it on the court. And he goes, well, you got to earn that right. You can't just show up one day and start trying to do new things during the game. That's something you got to work on all summer long and prove that you are worthy of trying to do that new thing during a game. So hearing Rome Odunze's maturity at his age, talking about having to do things thousands of times before you're going to execute it the right way in the game. You got to love the maturity and, potential leadership with him there. It's an exciting thing to see.
If you didn't know who Rome Odunze was, like if you didn't know who he was and you saw him for the first time on Hard Knocks, you would not think he's a rookie. Just based off of how he kind of presents himself in anything that he does, football field, off the football field, he is a mature individual who has his head on straight and, obviously can play. Like this show's going to highlight those positive characteristics. And again, people got to see a better glimpse of it in episode 2.
And I think the biggest thing that people are realizing, and they already knew it on paper, but the Bears wide receiver room are a bunch of dogs, right? DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. I mean, plus Swift. I mean, just the weapons in general. Like it's unbelievable. I think this is the best core of weapons I think the Bears have ever had, from the running back core to the tight end room, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, the wide receiver core. It's unbelievable. They got potentially 4 running backs that can hurt you. That's a good problem to have. So I think everything is aligning in the right directions, right? The last kind of step for me, I think, to make this team complete is who is going to be part of that defensive line rotation. How are they going to operate, when it really comes down to week 1, right? Against the real competition, when all the starters are playing, who are going to be some of those guys, right? How is Gervon Dexter really going to step up? Because I think his body has transitioned. He's definitely leaner. He's probably lost 25 pounds at least, if not more.
Probably.
Yeah, he looks as lean as can be. We're seeing some of the progress right there. It's not, Rome wasn't built overnight, just like Gervon Dexter's progress. So I'm hoping he continues with that get off, because sometimes in practice you see clips of him where he's the first guy getting off, and then watching some of the games, I see the hand usage there, but at times I see that pad level and the get off, the lack of get off rather, creeping in. So I'm hoping that he can put that together, because him taking the next step this year would be huge, because that internal pressure makes everything easier for those edge rushers.
Well, I want to ask you a little bit about, these guys having to play in these preseason games. Keenan Allen hadn't played in a preseason game in 4 years before Saturday. Wow. You saw the clip in Hard Knocks where DJ Moore kind of rolls his eyes, assuming that was edited properly and accurately. It seemed like he was rolling his eyes to the notion that they were going to have to play a series or 2 in this game. But we talked to DJ Moore on the 85 of Cole Kmet, and he admitted, he's like, even though he didn't want to play, he said that in the show to Cole, once you get out there, your only choice is to go, play all out. And then you get that clip later where he's running dudes over and he's yelling out, I love football, which was really cool to see. What's that like? Understand you have to play in the games. You might not want to play in these preseason games, but once you go out there, you do it. And obviously in this case, DJ Moore was obviously having fun at the same time.
Exactly. Like my first 2 years, it's like you're trying to make the team. So, yeah, you got to play every game. I mean, that's what it is. Then my last 2 years when I was a starter, it was okay, you know you're going to make the team, but you don't really want to play. But then when you're out there, you got to go 100%. You got to turn that switch on, right? Because if not, you're going to get yourself injured. So I think the thing is once they get out there, they go through the warm-ups, they get ready, the music's playing, they're ready to go. But I think their initial thought is probably like, damn, I got to play in this preseason game. He's nothing, right? I'm the guy. Everyone knows what I can do. But I think it's a different situation, especially with a guy like Caleb Williams. They want to get them on the same page. The rhythm, the timing, the routes, them running together. They're trying to get him as many reps as possible. We see how they're doing it in practice. And I respect that they're giving all the starters reps with him because that's what he needs. That's what he needs to get going. The preseason, the offseason is limited, and we're getting all these reps together. So it was good to see DJ over there, rolling his eyes, but then he's excited to play, having fun. That's what it's about because those guys are going to make Caleb's job that much easier because those guys can get open on command. It really helps a rookie quarterback having studs like that. And then you have a guy like Swift that's able to get open out of the backfield and really when Caleb's getting that pressure, he can do that flip throw to him. So I think everything is piecing together offensively. And, people are like, oh, I don't know about Caleb Williams. He's struggling in practices. And I'm like, listen, it's going to take some time. But I think ultimately it was a small sample size in that game. But I think it was awesome to see him just have confidence and really be on the move and do some of the things that he did in college. They're like, hey, I can still do this at this level. I can be successful. And I think that's just for the young guys, right? For guys like him, for guys like Austin Booker, for Rome Odunze. It's just getting that confidence up for them so then they can hit the ground running once the season. Because we all know they're talented. It's about them just confirming with themselves, I can do this, right? I did this in the college level. I was a stud. Now I can do the same at the NFL level.
Well, real quickly, when, DJ's kind of getting slammed to the ground saying, I like football, is that demoralizing for like a defense player? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're like slamming me down and yet you're happy about it. Like, did you ever have that experience with anybody where?
Yes. Andrew Luck, right? So 2012, and Hoge, you probably remember the season. So first game of the season, we play Andrew Luck, right? He's the big guy like Caleb Williams, right? Coming out, stud, all this. And
he was a rookie in that game.
Right? So I hit him a bunch of times, and he was notorious for you hit him, you get him a great shot. You're like, oh, nice hit, great job, and you'd be like, fucking knock this guy upside his head, and he's saying good job. And ended up getting a sack on him, and he said the same thing. And after the game, said, "Good job, yeah, Andrew Luck, yeah, great job, yeah." But I just remember thinking, like, dude, I gave this dude a shot, and he's like, "Great job." So I think he just tried to play mind games with you, man. He was ahead of his game. Like he'd always try to make it seem like that, because then you think like, man, maybe I shouldn't hit this dude that hard next time. And then you're like, wait, am I getting soft over this guy? It's the ultimate mind game. So Andrew Luck was one of those guys. Marshawn Lynch was a guy we played against multiple times, especially when he's in Seattle. So that 2010 or rather 2011 playoff season when we went to the NFC Championship, right? We played Seattle in that game before the NFC Championship. So we tackled him on the sideline, right? There's probably like 8 or 9 of us Bears players, Urlacher, Briggs, me, Peppers, everybody. We couldn't bring him to the ground, right? Now, I just remember him being like, y'all can't tackle me. I'm beast mode. And we're all just like, what the? Literally, there was 8 or 9 of us. And we're like, we can't bring this guy to the ground. And that was kind of demoralizing. You're like, all these big dudes. We got Hall of Famers. We got the best of the best. And we can't bring this guy down. I know he's beast mode, but that was a little demoralizing, honestly. I was like, man, that's the tough pill to swallow that 8, 9 guys couldn't bring down one.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you're here, Woot. Those stories are awesome. That Andrew Luck impression was outstanding. And we greatly appreciate it. We're gonna spring you loose.
Appreciate it.
Yep, because you got a real job to go to tomorrow. We just got to go to watch another Bears practice.
Man, you guys live the life, man.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us tonight,
No
and Woot will be back with us, of course, next Tuesday too after episode 3 of Hard Knocks. So, good night, brother.
You guys have a good one.
Yeah, later, Woot. Yeah, and
right.
make sure. Yeah, I was just gonna mention, for all you guys tuning in, we got like nearly 1,500 people tuning in. If you want to hang out with Woot, you guys can come out with us to Arizona. If you hit up truefantravel.com, we're going to London. So if you are heading to London, you can hang out with us there. There's still some events you can participate in, but you can also sign up for our trip to Arizona. Corey Wootton will be on hand with us. Again, go to truefantravel.com, search CHGO Bears, and you'll see all the information at your disposal. Hotels, flights, tickets to the game. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff in Arizona, events, tailgates, and then going and hopefully watching a damn good football team that seems like they're really starting to build some camaraderie. So make sure you hit up truefantravel.com.
And Woot is also going to be at our golf outing next Friday.
That's right.
At Cog Hill, our kickoff classic for the second straight year, CHGO kickoff classic. We were told earlier this morning that we are close to selling this thing out. So a few spots left. We'll be out there. We'll be out there. It's going to be a fun day. Cog Hill, number 2, 9 a.m. shotgun start. Thanks to all our sponsors, Circa, Coors Light, Shady Rays, Seltz Up. Got a lot of great sponsors behind this event. We had a ton of fun last year. This is our second year doing this right before football season begins. So one last chance to come out and golf with us, and Corey Wootton will be there as well. A few spots left.
And Michael Humphreys booking ASAP for Arizona. Let's go. We'll see you there, Mike.
Do it. That's going to be a fun weekend. All right. It is that time.
Uh-oh.
The second week in a row. We passed the test. Apparently, this was good enough to bring back for a second week. The Braggy Awards. Braggies are back. This is Hard Knocks. This is Super Bowl. And, to the point that he still has cable, so he can watch it on time, unlike the rest of us.
That's right.
And so I think the number one Braggy has to go to Braggy.
Thank you very much.
On just that. But
still having a dish. I still go to the movie theater. Come on, people.
That's fine. Whatever. What was the best moment? The Braggy for best moment in episode 2 of Hard Knocks goes to.
No question. I said it earlier. It was in my instant reaction. Keenan versus Jalen Johnson. That was as fun for me to watch. I need more. They're doing a lot of cool music montages and bringing the blues into it, all that stuff. That's great. But I want the football stuff, and to see Keenan Allen and Jalen Johnson go head to head there and watching Keenan, get pissed off and how competitive he was. Like, I'm going to get him on one-on-ones tomorrow. And Jalen just keeps having his number. And you talk about iron sharpens iron. It's the old moniker, but at the same time, it really holds true with these two guys. And the rest of the team, wide receivers versus DBs, sometimes you have a hard time deciphering if the good versus the bad when it's Bears versus Bears at practice. But there's no question those two are making each other better and ready for the season.
All right. And then best character, the Braggy.
Yeah.
Best character in tonight's episode goes to.
Yes. Well, I had a couple, but definitely DJ Moore's kids are adorable. DJ took his family to the ice cream museum. That was a lot of fun to watch, and watching his kid put the helmet on. That was pretty funny. My wife and I had a pretty good laugh about that. And they didn't show his daughter signing autographs at camp. I know the Bears, put a picture out, last week when DJ signed that contract the same day. So his little kids are definitely cute. My daughter's first day of first grade today. So, it's cool to see DJ and his family having a good time there. So shout out to them. And then to me, again, Chris Morgan continues to be someone that I'm really enjoying watching, during these practices, and to see it at Hard Knocks and seeing some of the things he's saying under his breath. We hear him from the stands, but now you're hearing some more of the, some of the things being said there. So I love this guy. He's a great addition to the coaching staff. And then Rome's mom, Odunze's mom.
You love him so much, you've gotten his name wrong both times you brought him up.
I was going to say it.
And it's wrong in the Chris Morgan is the offensive line coach.
Oh my
Chad
God.
Morgan.
Yeah. Chad Morton, Chris Morgan, Chad Morton. It's driving me crazy. Whoever you are, you're great. Keep talking your shit. I'll get your name right one other day, not today. I've been up since 5 a.m. Had to get my daughter ready for first grade. Then I drove to 294 all the way to practice, all the way back in 3 hours of traffic. Then I had to watch Hard Knocks twice because of HBO Max and their craziness. I got people yelling at me on Twitter because I got a goddamn satellite dish on my roof. I'm sorry. It's late. I took a lot of notes. Leave me alone. My other best character goes to Roma Odunze's mom. Roma Odunze's mom.
Roma Odunze's mom.
In the stands. I can't take it. I can't take it.
That was great. I loved when DJ's daughter said the Bills suck. That was, she was on the sideline, but that was a great rant there, Braggs.
I thought for sure I was going to be the one that had the rant on. I felt spoiler alert. I fell asleep 3 hours ago. I've been in bed for 3 hours. I don't even know.
Hoge is catatonic.
I saw you take a swig of the Red Bull there. I saw you take a swig of the Red Bull.
I made it about 40 minutes into the episode. And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting through the show unless I, take an energy drink. First of all, it was my first of the day though, I have to say. Now I won't sleep all night. I'll see you guys at practice tomorrow. All right. Bragg struggling with the concept that this is an award show and not the nominees section where you name 6 different things.
I'm sorry.
The award for biggest surprise, this Braggsy goes to.
Yeah, and I think you will really appreciate this one too, Ho, because I know it probably got your ears perked up. But the Bears doing a scouting report on the officials, the refs, the 17 different teams, that Caleb's gonna have to, ingratiate himself with and over his career and make friendly with these guys. Make sure he's getting those flags like he did in his first game in the Bills game, getting that illegal contact flag to keep the drive alive. I found that really interesting as the coaching staff was breaking to Caleb down the scouting report on the refs going into the Bills game. I don't know. What did you think about that, Hoge? Because I thought that was great.
Yeah, look, so Harry Freed, who we don't see a whole lot, we don't get FaceTime with it, but that's like his job. He does the, some of the analytical stuff, the officials, when the officials come in, he's the one who handles the officials being in the building, all that type of stuff. I knew in the past that they, scouting officials is a real thing. You can find information on penalties that crews. We can find that if we really look into it. So it's certainly things that teams pay attention to. Hey, this crew calls a lot of holding penalties, or this crew calls a lot of PIs. So Jalen Johnson, you got to be a little bit more aware this week because this official, those are all things they do. But what I loved about that, and you just brought it up, Braggs, to have that be a 3-person meeting with Flus and Caleb specifically, and Harry's going through, hey, so it takes about 2.5 years to get through all the officials, but you want to have a good relationship with these guys. So some of them you'll see twice this year, some you won't see at all, but you definitely want to have a good relationship with it. And we've seen that pay off, across the league. We know Aaron Rodgers gets calls. Patrick Mahomes is getting calls. Tom Brady was he was in the referee's ears a lot. But that's definitely a huge thing. You're gonna be in this league for a long time. Start these relationships now. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like that Caleb had a question, and that seems like a interesting. It's a weird meeting. I feel like it's one that you don't have very often. But he's like, yeah, how many times am I going to see these guys? So just even having a question in the first place, but then also at the end of that episode, Josh Allen was even giving Caleb some advice, yeah, maybe, don't do this in the preseason, but definitely in the regular season, you can try to get that flag. So again, that quarterback fraternity, trying to help each other out a little bit. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and where Caleb almost got a little bit of a late hit because he tried to extend the play and throw that little over the top. The Bills player that knocked him on the ground. Tevin comes over, says a little something. Even Caleb, I thought, said something to him as he's walking away. And then that player comes running up to the Bears huddle and goes, hey, Caleb, make sure you run out of bounds. And DJ Moore goes, shut up. So I thought that was a pretty funny moment there too. So
yeah, that was funny. All right. And then our final Braggsy of the night goes to worst moment.
Yeah, worst moment of the night. Again, like Hoge said, we totally feel for you, HBO Max, but you guys not dropping that episode for all of Bears Nation, making people completely lose their mind. You're right there step for step with me, but I will take worst moment of the night. And it's not because I have no idea what assistant coach is who. It's for my taunting of you poor people that didn't get to watch the episode right away with us old boomers who still have our satellite. I will take worst moment of the night. I had a lot of fun at your guys' expense. I know everyone was very upset, some more so than others. Some were able to take a joke and others did not think any of it was funny. But I continued to poke the knife and twist and turn, and I was having a lot of fun laughing on my couch while people were completely losing it. So I will take Bagman here. We'll take worst moment of the night. I'll take it from HBO Max, but it was a lot of fun. I couldn't help myself.
Me guy. That's a me guy move.
Yeah,
I'll take it. Me guy.
Yeah. I will say this as somebody who had DirecTV and was a loyal DirecTV customer for many, many years. I'm glad you got your Super Bowl tonight. Got to enjoy it. One last dance, you might call it.
Yeah.
For the satellite television world. I will say that my streaming services for probably the last 3 years or so, because I will admit, when I worked for NBC, we got free cable through NBC Universal, Comcast. That was part of the perks of the job. That was very nice. It was great. So I did give that up when I came to CHGO. But my streaming has been very reliable and more reliable than satellite was when you get the cloud cover, the storms come in or whatever like that. So it's a rarity that this happened, and it really had nothing to do with streaming. It just happened to do with the fact that somebody or something happened over there at HBO. They didn't get the episode up. But hey, I'm glad you enjoyed that. As far as I could tell, this show started together. We all started at the same time tonight, so I still feel like you were delayed.
Yeah. Well, I did that for the people. I did that for the people. You know, everybody that was like, "Oh, you've turned on us." No, I waited for everyone to see it, to do this show. I was, I'm taking a million notes to make sure we have a nice post, recap of Hard Knocks for all you fine people. These two here, Hollywood guys, they live by Hallis Hall. They'll get to nice sleep. They can walk in late to practice. Greg has to drive 2 hours down 294 tomorrow morning, and I got to be there 2 hours before they even have to be there. Thank you very much. So I am still the man of the people, and yeah, I did give you a little shit, so I'm taking away my worst of the night, and Max can take it back. Screw you people.
Grady says I'm the new man of the people.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't. He was about to fall asleep on all of you guys. He was threatening it. At 9,
the chat never lies.
So
never lies.
15% of me was ready for the episode to not air at all tonight. I'm not. Yeah.
All right.
I was gonna watch Love Island.
A couple things.
Of course.
Yes. I was just gonna say, I'm sorry. I was just going through my notes, so I can't see your faces. So I just want to say a couple notes because I know we're probably not going to go a full hour, but some of the different things that I really enjoyed from this episode: Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles on the rope climb.
Wait, hang on here. You just got your bragsies. It's the man of the people's time here to get through my notebook. And then whatever's left over, whatever's left. Yeah.
I
got notes. We all got notes.
We got a real notebook with actual.
You guys are,
I have actual a notebook and pen. This existed before satellite television.
You are old school. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
All right. Because I was going to bring up Simone Biles because
I apologize.
I just continue to think that's so cool that Jonathan Owens is just married to Simone Biles. And like that scene they showed where Jonathan Owens did pretty damn good on that rope climb. Can we just establish that? Like that was, that was pretty impressive. Good. And Simone just has her legs sticking straight out. And it's just, I'm at the top like Spider-Man. That was insane. So, and yeah, you just get to come home from the Olympics and announce to your team, my wife just won 3 gold medals again. Okay. That's pretty cool.
So impressive.
Yeah. Rome's, for the record, Rome's rookie show he had to do in the meeting room went a lot better than Caleb's. Although if you missed it, Cole told us on the 85 that Caleb did get a redemption moment. They did allow him to go a second time, which Hard Knocks did not show, and apparently it went a lot better. So Cole did tell that story on the 85. I'm a little, I don't know, to be worried or concerned about Velus Jones Jr. having a ferret. I mean, he's going like full Big Lebowski moment, I feel like, with got the pet ferret going on.
I'd be more concerned about it.
He called it.
Go ahead, Nick.
He called it a ferret, and then he's like, then he compared it to a video game I used to play called Crash Bandicoot. Those are completely two different animals. A bandicoot, not a ferret. I don't know about Velus. We have to talk about that.
And I would be a little more concerned at the end where they were like, Velus Jones may not know where he's lining up. And then Velus goes, I don't know what I'm looking at. Don't make fun of me. He's just going wherever and running with the football. It's like, all right, we're going to figure this out on the fly. Then he tripped over the offensive lineman. Yeah. That was pretty
He also asked the ref right before, like, wait, if it goes in the end zone, like, I can't return it, right? Like, I mean, I know they got to go over that. Like, it's good that you ask questions before the kickoff and stuff. But
that part actually confused me because if it lands in the end zone, you don't have to down it. But
that I was confused about that too. Like, is he giving the wrong information?
I mean, it's not a rule that you have to. You can still take it out. So, but you do get it out to 30 once it lands in the end zone on the fly. So yeah, it's a little. The rules with the kickoff are still pretty confusing. All right, Theo Benedette, another awesome moment. It was a lot shorter this week.
Life update.
but yeah, just stand. He's hurt now, but he gets up there and he's just, that was great.
People Magazine. 40-year-old mother of two said he had nice legs.
And then somebody else texted him, "My eagle has landed." Pretty good.
That was good. And then, okay, but they showed the back and forth between Keenan and Jalen, but they didn't show Keenan actually got him that day.
Right.
Yeah.
So he called his shot. He's like, I'm going to get him in practice tomorrow. And then he did it, but then Hard Knocks didn't show it. That felt like a miss to me.
Yep, I agree.
And a little inaccurate because it kind of showed Jalen dominated him again the next day, which in fairness, he was doing great, but if I'm Keenan, I'm like, wait a minute. I did get my catch against him.
I like how Jalen keeps, he did it on the breaking down the huddle and he said it to Keenan at one point. He's like, don't worry. It's not your fault. He keeps kind of poking at them. Like I'm just better, so I enjoy that for sure.
Yeah. And then I got two more things. One, another small Hard Knocks criticism, but the narration that Austin Booker or suggestion is the suggestion that Austin Booker is not guaranteed a roster spot. Austin Booker's going to be fine. He's safe. He is not one of these characters on Hard Knocks that might not make it.
Yep.
They moved up to get him. They're going to keep Austin Booker.
It was a random mention that didn't really make much sense to me. And then I did love Josh Allen's advice for Caleb Williams after the game, which they showed, which was, hey, in a regular season game, trying to bait the late hit on the sideline, good move. In the preseason, don't do that. And it did seem like an unnecessary shot. So I love that too. So that's all my notes from Hard Knocks. Nick, I don't know if you have anything else before we go back to Braggs' notebook.
Yeah, just really quickly. I think just continuing the emotional roller coaster that Austin Reed's parents experience in games. Like you just see his mom and dad, they're like getting up for every single moment. So that I feel like it's going to be a tough situation as we kind of get, down the road with these Hard Knocks episodes, seeing whatever happens with Austin Reed. But, like watching those moments, you just see again how these players are on the fringe of the roster and the loved ones that are associated with these players, what they're going through on these preseason games. Like we like to say that maybe they don't matter or they're not as significant. Just a lot of these guys, they are. So just want to point that out there. As a lot of the notes that you guys had, we've already mentioned. I guess the grading system that Eberflus mentioned for like the interception and then winning the defensive series. So just seeing a little bit the glimpse of how these.
I would have liked to hear more of how that worked. I would have liked to hear that a little more in depth of that grading system for sure.
Yep, no doubt. What do you got, Braggs?
And real quick, just in the comments, because people are saying they did show Keenan Allen's catch. If I'm not mistaken, the catch they showed in the end zone was not against Jalen Johnson. It was two other Bears defenders in the screen, but it was not Jalen Johnson. So they did show a Keenan Allen touchdown there, but that was not his catch that he did have against Jalen in that practice. Right, Nick?
Yeah, no, that one it was a sliding reception on the sideline that he had. It was a good play, but it wasn't on Jalen Johnson.
Well, and he beat Jalen pretty bad on that field that's closest to Hallis Hall. On that nice little route to the right on the right sidelines, and Caleb underthrew that pass. So like if we're really going, who's doing this step for step, like to me, Keenan did win that rep and then tried to come back to get the football, and Jalen got bailed out because that throw happened to be underthrown there. So that was one of the earlier practices when open practices had first started. So, it's a good battle. It's a great battle to watch. I don't really have too much more. Watching Austin Booker, say I'm cooking them, and then Eric Washington telling him to get 3 more and don't get satisfied. I loved hearing that. Corey, I know, talking about, just the kind of leader that Eric Washington is in that room as a coach. That gets me excited. And then watching him sack Mitch Trubisky. I know when we watch it on Saturday, it was just kind of one of those bizarre things, like how far we've come from that moment with Mitch to now this 5th round guy is sacking Mitch Trubisky in the second half of a preseason game. We got Caleb Williams over here now. Like, it's just like a whirlwind that we've been through as Bears fans here these last 5 years. And, then the other thing that I thought was funny with Caleb Williams was they asked their earliest memories, and Tyson Bagent was like petting a dolphin. And it was like really wholesome. And then Caleb was like playing flag football. Like, this dude is just locked into football his whole life. Like, there's nothing else going on with him. I feel like it's just football for Caleb.
He said he would 100% want to play flag football in the Olympics. Like, that's going to be put into the Olympics soon. So Caleb Williams, the Olympian.
Yep.
Question
mark.
mark?
And
I can already fast forward to a CHGO episode 4 years from now where Braggs is losing his shit over Caleb playing in the Olympics and getting hurt.
Yes, 100%. Ian Cunningham talking about like when him and Ryan Poles were in the room watching some practice film, talking about how it seemed like Caleb was starting to look a little different, getting a little more comfortable. I just kind of enjoyed that interaction, and then knowing what was about to come with him going to the Bills game and kind of cutting it loose there. I know that, I kind of reached out to the director of Hard Knocks, and I'm hoping, her name's Shannon Furman. I'm sure she's, taking a few hits here tonight, with the tough crowd that Bears fans are with Hard Knocks. But she did an interview with Dan Wiederer in the Chicago Tribune, and I thought it was really good. And she's done a couple interviews, and I was kind of hoping she'd jump on with us here at some point during this whole Hard Knocks stuff. We'll see if we can get her. But just talking about Caleb Williams' leadership, and I'll take one little quote, and then I'll just, advise all you guys to go read Dan Wiederer's article. But she said, "I would never guess that he is a rookie with the way he's handled things and just carried himself at camp. He seems like a 5th-year guy." And she goes on to say some other things about his maturity. And it really just stood out to me as somebody that she's gone to different teams here these last few years. And she's talking about Caleb Williams and that maturity at that level. You also, put that with the way Rome Odunze carried himself in this episode. It just seems like the Bears are in really good hands with those two guys as our top 10 picks this year. It's a surreal world we're living in right now, Bears fans, and soak it up, enjoy it. This is only the beginning.
Got a lot of super chats to get to as well. My last thing I did skip over in my notes was I did enjoy that blues montage right at the start of the episode. Another good montage montage for Chicago and representing, an important part of our city, and blending it in with the practices and the hitting and all that stuff. It was well done by Hard Knocks there. All right. A lot of supers to get to as we close out tonight's episode. Fran Chile 199, it says Eagle becomes the best character again. Yes, the Canadian Eagle, Theo Benedette. I like that guy a lot. I hope, because they haven't cut him. They haven't done an injury settlement or anything like that. He is hurt. Like, maybe he could stick on the practice squad when this is all said and done. Zero Demon with a $50 super chat. echoing DJ Moore in screaming, "I like football."
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's great.
Love it.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like an obvious shirt that needs to be made immediately. Just I like football. Mark Gauthier, 199 early morning after dark in the UK. Boys, it is early morning there. Appreciate you tuning in as always, Mark. You are one of the diehards as always. Mark also adding for 199. Max app was a bust. Had to watch it via a VPN on Hulu.
Well, and I'm sure they're going to get this circumvented here next week with the chaos that's spread. I don't really know how it works in terms of showing it on main HBO at 8 p.m. Central and then it being released on the app maybe an hour later. Maybe that's just how they do it protocol wise. But I do know that somebody was saying on Twitter that they were able to watch Hard Knocks live on HBO Max through Amazon Prime. So if you have HBO through Amazon, maybe that's a faster way of watching it. Maybe next week they have it circumvented. But those are, maybe some different options if you're able to watch it a different way. Or you can come over to my house if you bring Taco Bell.
Well, just like you get HBO through DirecTV, you can get HBO like through YouTube TV if that's your stream. And apparently that was working. But if you're just trying to watch it through Max, which is what they've been pushing on us now for a couple of years, right? This is the new HBO. This is what it's supposed to be. You could just get it through your phone, your iPad, your TV on Max. That's where it wasn't working. And so that was a little bit disappointing, obviously. All right. Zero Demon 999 blaming Mark Carmen, saying hashtag Carm's fault, which I think is fair.
Yep. Fair.
Always.
Yep.
Also adding Zero Demon another 999 tweet. The tweet that Max did send out tonight. There's a delay for tonight's episode. The episode will be available soon. Which turned out to be true. Bradley Haas 199 jumping in with a super or just giving us $2. One or the other.
That's my guy Brad Hassey. Good friend.
We appreciate it. And Crystal Simone, as always, jumping in here, 999. Braggs, that was not funny. It really stressed me out. But you watched it now. I'm done with Velas. Just saying, love you guys. Bear down.
I think Velas got like the short end of the stick for a lot of people in this episode. Like Ian Wheeler over Velas Jones Jr. I don't know if I quite felt that way.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that watching the game. To throw in the drop kick return, which obviously can't happen, but like he doesn't usually do that. And
no,
I don't know. He does it on punts. But Gary Ross jumping in. Yeah, Gary Ross jumping in saying obvious shirt already made that shirt and released it tonight. Good. It sounds like something Joe would do. He's usually on top of that stuff. Yes. Javen Terry 999 says two things. We better not keep Velas over Wheeler, and I'm canceling my HBO subscription as soon as Hard Knocks is over.
All right.
Yep. Lowe's 6 999. Booker has such a crazy motor and big time confidence. You can just tell Eric Washington loves him too. When he came up to him on the sideline, said first of many. Only 21 years old. Huge steal. Yeah, and I also love, as Woot said earlier, don't be satisfied. Challenge him to get more. That was a cool moment on the sideline that they showed in the game. Jack Hansen, 199.
Appreciate you, Jack.
Hansen, 199. Thank you. That's all that. Yeah, and Crystal again, 499. Braggs, I love you. Here's a virtual hug.
Love you too, Crystal. Love you too.
All that whining got you a hug.
That's right.
And just a couple more here. We'll fly through and then get final thoughts. Alex Flores, 499. I feel like this has helped Fluce's credibility. Feels like the same guy on and off camera. The culture seems to be a real thing. Good stuff. And just adding that again, not to keep plugging the 85, but DJ Moore did say that one of his answers to Cole Kmet on that show that we aired this morning, that this is like the best culture he's been a part of. And that was a teammate saying it to a teammate, not just answering like a standard media answer. I thought that was an interesting little nugget that was in the 85 this morning. Z Sean, $5. Are we not going to talk about DJ yeeting that child into that pool? That was funny. His wife's like, or I guess fiance was like, don't do it. and he's just like,
yes.
It's like
that was pretty funny.
the Simba meme that's out there. Where he just tosses them over.
Send it.
I love that one.
They have by the way, they have a sprinkles pool in that place. That was sweet.
Pretty cool. Yeah, my wife immediately was like, "You need to take Addison there." I was like, "Yep, we are probably gonna have to make the trip now."
Yeah.
Down for ice cream.
I'm sure there's a
right, I think that was I'm sure there is.
Guys,
we are 31 subscribers away from 59,000.
We are not leaving until we hit 59,000 subscribers. And what's crazy is this was at training camp today at literally probably 10:30 in the morning, and it is approaching 11:30 at night, and Hoge was yawning then. So if you don't get us to 59K, Hoge might fall over and die on the show here tonight. That's what's at stake. So
I was terrified how you're going to use that picture, but I actually appreciate like I feel proud of myself actually. That was 13 hours ago and I was yawning then.
Still going.
Honestly, I haven't napped and I've only had one Red Bull since then. I honestly didn't have any caffeine between then and
3 shows today. The 85 debut with DJ Moore as a special guest, then a post-practice show, then Hoge goes over to football practice for Carmel, and then he comes back for Hard Knocks. It gets delayed an hour and 15 minutes, and now here we are approaching midnight and approaching 59,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. I mean, there's 1,200 fans watching live right now, and there will be thousands and thousands more watching this show here later on that didn't even experience the chaos that was HBO Max sending Bears fans into a full tilt. So it's a beautiful thing.
And to clarify, Braggs is not leaving until we get to 59,000. I am going to bed. You will sit here and talk to you about Hard Knocks.
I will. We didn't talk about Caleb enough in the post-practice show.
No, here we go.
Here we go. 30 minutes.
Yeah, you can get that. You could do a whole nother show on Caleb's boring practice today.
Excuse me, sir? Because that was the other good point, was when they hit Rome a couple times, Caleb to Rome during practice, and DJ's like, "Ooh, we're cooking them now," or whatever he said. That was the practice right before the game on Saturday. So I'm just enjoying watching this grow, this little seed that's going to turn into a beautiful flower, just keep blooming, and we're all just going to get to live the dreams that we've been dreaming about for so many years as Bears fans. And I can finish this show by myself, singing sweet nothings into all your ears, Bears fans, about dreams of going to New Orleans. I just cannot wait. I'm sorry.
I feel like we're not even here anymore. Bragg just went into the mic.
Just as delirious. I know Hoge's been busting his ass the last couple days, but trust me, all of us here, Nick busts his ass, Steven's here. We are We are all delirious. Well, everybody but Carm, who's
Carm's at vacation camp or whatever the hell.
The rest of us are delirious at this point. Steven in the background, completely delirious. I don't think he's seen the sunshine or outside in 2 weeks. So this is where we're at.
Bring in little Steven. Where's little Steven when we need him?
I'm right here. Oh, little Nick.
Damn it.
Ooh, little Nick.
Little Nick.
Oh.
Right.
I do miss the sun, guys.
Wasn't that an Adam Sandler movie?
Little Nicky.
Little Nicky. Yeah.
He has a weird voice of that. I can't watch that one because of like the voice that he has.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Chris, I love the motivation. Let's stay till 60,000. We're not going to do that tonight. We are going to blow by 60,000 before the first game. I kind of had that as our goal sort of in the preseason to get to 60,000 by week 1. We're going to blow that away.
Yeah.
Like a week ago, we were trying to get to 58. Now we're almost to 59. So we greatly do appreciate all the support. It has been a huge day for us here on the CHGO Bears team. And there's been a lot, honestly, there's been a lot of hardworking people like Steven behind the scenes, from Jake to Kevin to our sales team to our executive team back in Denver, putting all the whole Cole Kmet deal together. It's been a rewarding experience. So if you hadn't checked that out already, please do. Please go back and check out our post-practice show today if you missed that. And we'll be back next week for the next Hard Knocks show. And in the meantime, it's still day one of our weeks somehow, because we have.
I'm gonna start crying.
Yeah, I know.
No way. That's right.
Today was show one of the week somehow, even though we did like 8 shows today. I don't know who's counting this all up for us. We might have to check the math a little bit. It doesn't make sense. But we are back tomorrow with another post-practice show. Hopefully that Bengals practice gets in Thursday. Nick and Braggs will have a preview show on Friday. We'll have pre and post on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun along the way. So I'm going to say goodnight for now. And we'll be back tomorrow, 2:00 post-practice. We'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.